एक मिनट रुक जाओ, रेडी होने दो. चलो ये कर लेते हैं. दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट इंट्रो.
Hi, I'm Akshay.
Hi, this is Saurabh, and you are listening to the Founder Thesis podcast. We meet some of the most celebrated startup founders in the country.
And we want to learn how to build a unicorn.
Very few founders can claim to be as responsible for driving the e-commerce revolution in India as this guest. He started the last decade by setting up an e-commerce company focused on products for babies and children. By the time the decade ended, he had scaled his venture into a unicorn. In his next entrepreneurial avatar, he is supporting the next generation of e-commerce companies to solve the logistical pains. This guest is none other than Amitava Saha. He co-founded FirstCry in 2010 and then went on to create Xpressbees in 2015. Listen to this insightful conversation between Amitava and Akshay Datt about how to scale up business with a relentless focus on operational excellence.
Was there like an entrepreneurial bug biting you in IIM, or that happened later?
No, I think entrepreneurship was not that much in vogue in 99 2001. Although a dot com thing, I heard some of the seniors saying, I'm starting a .com, and not in the campus though. Some of the seniors, I remember I was doing my summers in Delhi, and there was this freshers welcome party that used to happen, where in different cities the freshers who had it was a sort of alumni get together and freshers welcome.
Like a mixer, right?
Yeah, so if you have got admission in IIM Lucknow, uh, you know you joined you were asked to join the freshers party there. In that, alumni would also come in, old batches, and you have also the summer training. So I met some of those guys. I was in Delhi doing my summers in Marico, and there I met some of the seniors who were saying we are planning to start a .com, and so on and so forth. And but my family situation is also very different. My father retired during the last year of my engineering college, so I had to get into a job. And when I quit my job to do my MBA, I pretty much took a bank loan because my father was also not working. There was no earning member, so I got some scholarships from IIMs and used some of my savings to pull through the college. So my intention was very clear. I had to, my family condition was that I had to go back to a job.
Right. You have to pay off your loan.
Yeah, I had to pay off my loan. My parents were dependent on me, and then I went. Obviously my father had retired and he had the savings, but as I said, he was in a government job throughout his life, and he earned his government. His all his savings and everything was from the government salary, so which was not very sizable. So only thing I think he had managed well is he bought a land in Calcutta and had built a house. So other than that, the savings were pretty meager. So I had to go back to a job. I was very clear. So IIMS was just a stopgap in between, adding a qualification to your name. But I was pretty much clear that I had to go back and join a job.
So you joined NIT through like campus placements.
Yeah, I joined NIT Tech. So it was supposed to be a sales. It was supposed to be a sales job. I was supposed to join. I was very clear, from day one. I was very clear. I wanted to be in tech, but I was once post joining IIMs, I was very clear I wanted to be in tech. Somehow I felt that tech was the field to be for future, not FMCG, not marketing, not finance. But again, I was very clear I did not want to. I was not a techie by any imagine. I still can't write a single line of code. So I always wanted to join the business side of technology. So So somehow that thing was very clear with me that I had to join business side of technology. I did not apply for a lot of. I applied for only few opportunities. I remember I applying for Sapient, and then I had I had an offer from Ramco Systems through that something called started called higher than entry placement. So I got a job as a sort of I think business analyst or senior business analyst in Ramco Systems, and I'd applied for NIT because they were offering sales positions. So I hadn't applied for any of the FMCG companies. I hadn't applied for uh, any of the finance
The
companies.
banking, right? Hmm.
I somehow I was very clear. I wanted to get into technology, and I I would I wanted to get into business side of technology, but since the business side openings were not so there very few companies came with the sales opportunities. So I said, why don't I get into a BA or a business analyst or a business consulting role, which would gradually, and I said so in all the interviews. Some of them cross questioned me and said, like, why don't you then join a sales and later come to consulting? A lot of sales people graduate consulting. Uh, maybe I now realize that more those questions were trying to cross me and check what my thoughts were. But I was always somehow I was very clear that I wanted to join the business side of technology.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, so I joined NIT, and it was I NIT picked me up for overseas sales. Okay, I was supposed to be I was supposed to be sent for overseas sales, and they said preferably I'd be sent to Far East, Singapore,
Okay.
and that was year 2001.
Hmm. The 9/11 thing happened then.
Yeah, no, even before 9/11, I think the markets were down. I think .com bust was happening, and a lot of my batchmates had companies deferring their offers. For example, my some of my batchmates were supposed to join I2 from campus. I2 had come, I2 pulled back all the offers. Then a lot of US offers were revoked, and or things were getting delayed. And fortunately, NIT let us join on time, and then 9/11 happened. And then obviously, it was sort of a force majeure, and every company is looking at restructuring or reworking the assets. And NIT also decided that it would reduce the sales force in US, and it was and not only US and other parts of the world as well. So so there were there were no chance for us going overseas. The fresh batch which was hired, that got completely negated. So I was doing I was doing an interesting job helping the head of Asia Pac business with overall managing and sort of PA to him, and business planning, and doing a little bit of marketing and so on and so forth. But I wanted to do frontline sales, so I was getting restless. And so, within a year, I think just after a year, I got an offer for frontline sales from a company called Future Software in Chennai.
What was it that you were selling exactly? Like, what was the product?
So I used to sell layer 2, layer 3 switch. It was R&D product. So we used to sell to in Korea. I would go and talk to various telecom SMEs and sell them the product on which they would make their enhancement, and they would plan for bidding for making enhancement on the base product. They would plan to bid for Korea telecom tenders, which would happen appear like so this was 2003, 2002, 2003 that I was doing. So they would buy the base product from us and build enhancements, and probably in year down the line, year and a half down the line, they were planning to participate in a tender which Korea Telecom would take out for the switch they would launch in 2005. So it was a futuristic R&D telecom projects, and NEC was another one of my clients. So so Samsung, NEC, and I think the very tough market to be if you're in telecom. They're both Korea and Japan are tough markets, um, and we were a pure data routing software company. So it was not a full stack telecom software. For example, Hughes was a voice stacks. Voice stacks has much more demand in the market at that point of time than data stacks. So we're a pure data stack company, which was a much more difficult sell, uh, and so did well. But I at that point of time, I wanted to join a uh, I was handling Korea market, I was Japan market, I was doing well. People right from Mr. Ramni to all the seniors, everybody knew me. You know, I cracked into accounts which they have been trying to crack into for years, like Samsung. They have been trying to get into Samsung for last 7 8 years. They haven't got into Samsung. I got them into Samsung, and so I was very well regarded. Um, Everybody knew me, and I was itching to get into a sort of a smaller setup where I could contribute more. Uh, it was it is at that point of time I felt that I needed to get into something. I need to get into a semi-entrepreneurial startup, something in a semi-entrepreneurial mode. That's the first time I felt, and I was looking around, and then I figured out about Brainvisa, which was in Pune, which was founded by Supam, who is currently my co-founder in two of my ventures. So Supam had founded, and I had a couple of my batchmates working in Brainvisa.
What is Supam's backstory? Like, uh,
Supam is IMA. I think IMA 98, if I'm not wrong. Then he worked for in Pepsi for a year or two, and then in 2010, 2000, he launched Brainvisa. It was more of a test prep company at that point of time. So I think they were ahead of times.
test prep like career launcher and all of these?
No, online test prep. So I think that the concept was slightly ahead of its time. So right now, for last 2 years, it's online. But at that point of time, uh, they tried to do an online test prep. They tried to do more of a career launcher rather than career launcher. That IMS thing, online IMS.
Okay, got it. And this was for mainstream exams like CAT and
Exactly.
IIT
So
JEE.
so
Okay.
so so
Hmm.
there was no classroom training. It was a lot of exercise, like basic some course material and a lot of exercise. Trying to do a B2C company.
And how did he fund this? Because I'm sure this would have needed funding to launch.
So yeah, they had some funding from some seed funding guys. Uh, you know, they lost the money, and then they pivoted to a B2B model, B2B e-learning model. Once they pivoted to B2B e-learning model, they never needed any money.
So B2B learning, as in like corporates, like giving corporates a e-learning platform. Okay.
Corporate e-learning
And,
platform.
and just a platform or like platform with content?
No, so it was a custom content development program project.
Okay. 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 So like a turnkey solution.
Yes. So initially they were doing B2C selling, B2C content, and then they pivoted to a B2B custom e-learning solutions. And in the bargain, they have lost all the money. The investors owned majority of the company. But once they pivoted, they never needed that. The company was generating its own cash. So So the investors put in money in some business model which did not work in first 1.5 years, and then the company pivoted and became very profitable.
And this was what, Indian markets or outside
It
India?
was primarily overseas. So they started with doing some project for L&T, Infotech, and others. But when I joined, they had one client in UK and they had one client in US. It was a very small company. I although I wanted to join an entrepreneurial startup, but
Hmm.
my thought process was, look, I started my career with Tata Steel, which is like a web, and then I was in NIT Tech, which was at that point of time the fourth largest software company in the country. And then Future Software, which was around, I think, at that point of time around 16 to 18 million run rate. And here I you know uh, joined a company which was barely doing like $600,000 or $700,000 a year. So had my, it was slightly contrasting thought, contrasting, I would say, uh, contrasting positions for me. I wanted to join a startup. I wanted to, and at that point of time, one has to understand that startups are not that fashionable. I'm talking 2003. Startups are not fashionable, uh, and I was still like, I needed to support my family. I was not in a financial state where I could take a risk. So 2003, so I was having my, but I finally took the plan. Supam used to call me every day, almost every other day. After I he sent me the appointment letter. He used to tell me every day, Amitava, I'd love you to join. Uh, you know, would because when he asked me, how much do you do? I said, like, this much. I felt like, I said, why is your company so small in 2 years? He said, no, I pivoted. I said, he was asking me, how long do you think it will take? I said, like, we're at a very basic stage. You should be able to rapidly climb out, because I do X amount of business. As a sales guy, you have hired a couple of guys like me, you will get out of the woods in the next couple of days, next couple of year or two max. And he knew that I was one of those guys who had used to do $1 million+ dollars run rate of business every year. And and he used to tell me, Amitava, you should be absolutely sure, because don't come and leave. If you it's okay if you tell me that you can't join, and I will remain friends, but don't join and leave after 2 months, 3 months, because that would be a very big shock to us. It's difficult. We are a small company. We can't absorb that shock. So anyways, I joined, and
Did you take a pay cut, like, or did they match your salary?
no, it was not a cut. They matched my salary. Uh, so you know, but 2003 to 2007, I think it was we grew the company. I was heading this. I started with Europe and then rest of the world. Supam used to manage US business, and then I started managing. I used to handle the rest of the world business. So it was a very, very good ride. So we took the company from 600-700K to a turnover of $10 million in 4 years flat. And it was the $10 million might not sound very high right now, but two things, that was way back in 2007. And second thing is, e-learning was a very, very small field out there. Okay, but we were big daddy in e-learning globally. So we used to. I had clients like Nokia. I had clients like Vodafone, Deutsche Bank, uh, Novartis, and they were like, so we had clients like UPS, Microsoft. Uh, you know, even government clients. I had direct contract with Ministry of Defence UK. London Corporation was one of my clients. So, and all these were headquarter relationships because e-learning was always controlled out of HO. So, so all these were like for I would work with Nokia at Espoo in Finland. I would work with Novartis in Basel, out of the headquarters in Basel. I would work with Vodafone in Newbury, Newbury headquarters outside London.
How did you become so good at sales? I mean, to crack such tier one clients means you must have been very effective in doing like a in doing high ticket B2B sales. So, uh, what were like your learnings on how to do high ticket B2B sales?
I don't know. I think it came pretty naturally to me. So I was I was very I used to be very I used to value my time. I used to prepare well. I would think what would be the my value proposition. I was very clear in defining value proposition, both for me as well as the client. And if the
So you would do a lot of homework to figure out what is a good value prop.
uh, not a homework, but I would probably within the 1 hour meeting that I did, I used to do a very detailed meeting, and I used to meet a lot of people, and 70% or 75% of them who I would not meet the second time. If I was not clear on the value prop, I'll just politely say that nice meeting you. Let's keep in touch. I I wouldn't go back to the 70, rather like 80% of them. I would not probably meet them second time. So once that I figured out, the meetings clicked, and I had like we felt there was value pursuing, and so I used to obviously get into details and multiple meetings and then close it. So so very good, right? I think Sequoia came in around 2005. They bought out old investors, so it was Westbridge initially, uh, and then which Westbridge got acquired by Sequoia. So Sequoia joined our board. They put in some additional funds, although we're generating profits. We tried to acquire companies in UK and US, and we looked at the the largest or the biggest companies we had in e-learning areas in this time in this industry, those geographies. But we realized that those were still a small, relatively a nascent market, and it would not give the quantum step jump that we're looking for. And in the meantime, in 2007, we got a good all cash offer from a US company. So we sold Brainvisa in 2007, and we exited in 2009. So 2009 and both me and Supam exited Brainvisa in a span of like I exited on 31st October, Supam exited on 31st of December, and in 2010 September we launched FirstCry.
So that 9 to 10 period, like what happened in that period prior to the first cry idea? Like how did that idea evolve,
So we used to sit and ideate what to do next. So by that time, I know I was in a relatively better financial condition than I was in like 2003. So in between like 3 years, I was in London. Since I was doing sales, I did make some good salaries and commissions. Plus, there was a little bit of money I put aside from the sales. Uh, okay. I was the only non-founder to become the director of Brainvisa. So I was on their board. I had my ESOPs, not too much, little bit, but yeah. So I had my ESOPs, so made a little bit of cash from there. Plus, I was based in London for 3 years, so had put together some money. Although like I had my family around, but I was paid handsomely, or rather, I decided my salary, and it was always a percentage of sales. So so yeah, I had in a better financial condition, and now this time I wanted after coming out of Brain Visa, I was sure that I wanted to work for myself. Me and Super would just go sit, think, and ideate. So then that's where the first cry idea struck us, because during Brainvisa, both of us at that point of time had one daughter each, and Supam used to travel a lot. I was based in London, and again, post coming back from London or prior going to London, I used to travel a lot. So for both of us, for our daughters, we brought in a humongous amount of stuff from overseas. Whenever we used to travel, we used to carry something back. And we realized something as simple as Johnson's. In India, you have probably one lotion, one oil, one moisture, not a moisturizer. You get one lotion, one oil, one powder, one shampoo, and if you just go west, or even if you go to Singapore, you have so many types of lotions, moisturizers, dry skin, oily skin, nighttime, daytime, part time. The even Johnson's was the range was much wider, and 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 obviously there are other lot of other products which you did not get in India at all. So we realized that this is one area, and we knew obviously India was. We knew that India was a country which produced the maximum number of babies, and although like a lot of them would not have the purchasing power, but even if it's a percentage, that was a huge one. And that's how the idea of First Cry came to us. And we launched First Cry in September 2010. We worked.
So was the plan to like retail irrespective of online offline, or was it clearly e-commerce?
No, it was e-commerce. It was e-commerce. It was more clearly omni-channel. So we were very clear from day one. We'll start off as online, but we'll also have our offline franchisee stores. So September we took a bungalow in on. Then we started like me and Supam. I think if I remember it right, I think it was 9th September or something like that. I don't remember the date, exact date now. I think in 9th or 10th September. So people in First Try would probably know it better. Uh, I slightly don't remember. I think it's 9th or 10th of September. So we took a bungalow in Pune, and we started working. We created a small. We hired 4 5 people. We created a small studio out there for clicking of photographs. There was one finance guy whom I had interviewed on a roadside tea stall. He used to work for a franchisee in a franchisee of I think Levi's or somebody in India in Pune. So uh, anyway, I put together a small team. Started within like it was a 2 bungalow complex. Within like 1 month, we hired the bungalow behind us and used it as a warehouse. So we had internally set ourselves a milestone that we need to get out of this place by 6 months. We should outgrow this place by 6 months. And within 6 months, outgrew that place in 3 months. So uh,
But was the focus initially that you were building a like a digital interface and all that, or was it like you have to go out and find a lot of good products which are not in India and import them and make them available?
no, our first objective was to put together a good assortment. Okay, because we realized that going around a little bit in Pune and others, we realized the shops which were doing well in Pune at that point of time was the one which had an assortment. Simple, but I think one of the thing is if you have a good assortment, the mothers or the parents would flock there, because otherwise going to a small shop or mom and pop store, even if 1,000 2,000 square feet, the assortment level was pretty meager. So we said we wanted to put together a good assortment. So we studied a couple of top stores of Pune, bigger stores, top 5 stores of Pune in babies and kids, and we made a list of and obviously we looked at the diapers.com was there in US at that point of time. We looked at Amazon, and we said, okay, we designed the categories. We decided, we looked at what kind of products which are the catalogs, which are the product categories, subcategories we wanted, and we launched it. Okay, so we had some back-to-back
How did you get all the assortments? Like you had to like find the vendors and convince them, and did you?
Initially, we tied up with one or two stores in Pune with whom we agreed that they send the assortment to us, uh, or they would give us the assortment at certain margins. We said, well, since we're bulk buying from you, you would give me, say, you might be getting 20% of the MRP, you give me 5% of MRP or something like that. So we used to, and we were very clear, because the assortment was here. We said we want the products in our warehouse. So we don't want it that after we get the order. That was the most what most other people were doing. As soon as they got the, that's how Flipkart was doing. As soon as they got an order, they would run somebody to Daryaganj or something, pick up the book. We had a company called Babyway who was pretty much trying to drop ship. But we said that we would want the product. That's why we set up our own photo studio as well. In that bungalow, we had a photo studio. We had a small content team which would write the description. So we had a three-member content team of writing the description and a small photo studio. We had everything all we have thought through. We said we want to do it. We'll not copy the content. Will not obviously you might not find the right photograph, or the quality of photographs in the website of the manufacturer could be very, very poor and shoddy. So we said we will click our own photo, edit our photos, and write a content and put it up through in our own website through our internal mechanism. So yeah, so that's how we started FirstCry. Within 6 months, we launched our first store in Surat, and
Why Surat? Like, why not Pune only?
we wanted a franchisee based approach, and we're talking to people, and the first person to agree was the person in Surat. Uh, so we used to get once we started and we said we are looking for franchisees, looking at the assortment. A lot of people used to ping us. They wanted a franchise. Again, it established one thing very clearly: if you have a good assortment, you have a winning case study in babies and kids. So then.
How much did you do in the first year? Like 10, 11? Like, what did you end the year at in terms of your turnover?
I don't remember honestly. It's so far back. I remember when we had first day when we had get 10,000 rupees of sale. I think after starting off, I think after 10-15 days, we first day we get 10,000 rupees. We were very happy.
Wow.
So I don't remember the turnover at the end of the first year. I remember doing so during that period. I think, and we used to carry the customer care phones.
Okay. Okay.
So we wanted to know how the customer felt, and so one day in the evening, I had a uh, I had a call from SAF partners on the customer care phone
Okay.
saying we are SAF partners, and obviously we knew who SAF partners were, but they said would like to speak to the founders. I said, yeah, I'm one of the founders, and so the coincidentally the person who made the call was Mukul Arora, who is currently the one of the senior partners of SAF, which has now become Elevation. So that was Mukul has just joined SAF, and Mukul made that call to me. I remember around 4:35 in the evening, and then we got started getting contacted by others, couple of others as well. Then we realized what happened. Because we had not hit the market. We had a little bit of seed fund. Baby UA was trying to had formed a deck, and they have hit the market trying to raise funds. And and uh, and and by the nature, they were approaching people, and people would find our first cry, and then they contacted us. And I think people liked our processes and other things. So whoever came and talked to us, so everybody was interested in investing in us. Uh, so we had something like 5 to 6 offers for Series A, and it happened like without us planning for it. So like I think Sam was the first to call, and then within like 2 to 3 weeks, everybody had come. A lot of people had come, talked to us, met us. When we started FirstCry, the babies and kids market was very unstructured on the supply chain side, and that's how so I think we helped bring a lot of structure in that market as well, because we helped create some large vendors, and we did it out of our own interest as well, because we felt that was necessary for us as well as for the industry. And uh, and along the way, what happened was, we realized that uh, you know our customers were young moms who needed a good logistics service. And um, and although, like, in those days, those are initial days, delivery and e-com express existed, but the service levels are not up to the mark. We had Blue Dart as well, and we had First Flights, Aramax, and others. So we, out of necessity, we decided that we would have our own logistics. And
So, which year did you decide this, like to create in-house?
so 2 years after the venture, we decided we'll start off with our own logistics. And end of 2013, early 2014, is I got approached by some of my good friends who were also, like, all the other e-commerce founders were good friends of ours, because and some of them were also young parents, and some of them were prolific shoppers from FirstCry. So they had a first-hand experience of what we called ourselves in FirstCry Express. So they used to order uh, in the morning or early afternoon, and the packet would be with them by the evening. And they approached me and said, would you mind doing it for us as well? We really like your service. We really like your service. And at that point of time, we're just serving in 8 top cities in the country. And my only selfish interest at that point of time was, okay, if this guy is also, if I carried shipments for, say, Snapdeal or a Paytm or Shop Blues, those are the three people who had approached me. Uh, I at least I can extend my service from 8 to maybe 20, 25 cities, and I would be able to extend uh, a better quality of delivery service to FirstCry customers in 12 additional cities. That was my only thought process.
And the cost would probably come down because of volumes.
Yeah, cost would come down. No, from okay. Another thing is, from day one, when we started the logistics, my mandate, or I target I set for myself was very clear. I would There will be zero capex, okay, and I had to manage within the budget that I had to deliver the packet within the amount I would give it to Blue Dart or Aramax, okay, without. So in those times, so in the first, what we did was, we used to serve Delhi out of, say, just one office, entire Delhi. No, no, it would not make. So we had an office in Bridgewasan, warehouse in Bridgewasan, FirstCry warehouse. We had a small corner of the FirstCry warehouse from where we would launch our deliveries. Now, I can't expect the entire Delhi people to become, or my entire staff, delivery staff, to come to Bridgewasan and pick up the load and go and deliver, right? It would become very inefficient. What we used to do is, we used to create bags in the night, put it onto a vehicle, and there used to be a supervisor who would go around the Delhi, and my boys would assemble at different parts of Delhi. Different, say, maybe somebody would come in Rohini, somebody would come in Saptaj Enclave. The vehicle would start at 4:35 in the morning, and then you would go down picking and dropping the loads, and it would end in Mayurvia. The other vehicle probably would start from Gurgaon, and dropping the load in the northern Saket and all those places, and would end somewhere. And there's to be supervisor in the vehicle, and then after dropping the loads, there's to be some larger shipments like prams and other things. So the supervisor would go around delivering the prams and other bigger stuff. And in the evening, when the boys would come back, and the number of shipments were not very high, the boys would come back maybe within 2 to 2.5, 3 hours. He would collect back all the shipments, undelivered shipments, and cash, and come back.
Hmm. Okay.
So
So you managed to keep it pretty lean that way, like the costs are pretty lean.
yeah, my objective was, okay, logistics cost was always reported above your gross margin. And we used to, and FirstCry was continuously raising funds, and we used to disclose our gross margin figures to our investors every week. So we had to, like, even if I bought a chair and a table for people to sit on, I would expense that off. I'll not take it into asset. Simple. Chair and table, 3,000 rupees. So put a cost of 3,000 rupees in the weekly sheet, and and even that 3,000 rupees should like match up to whatever costs we're giving to Blue Dart and RMS. Fortunately, what saved us that during those times were the logistics costs were pretty high by current standards. So so we could. That's how we started, and then this three Paytm, Snapdeal, and Shopclues came through in 2014, 2013 end, 2014 beginning. We worked with them for a year. At end of 2014, early 2015, all of them came back and said, you know what? As far as service quality is concerned, you're the best guy on the block, but you are very small. So if you scale, we can put more business your way. And that's how, like, I went and talked to Supam, and then we went and talked to Board. Board was not very happy initially because half the first cry was reported to Supam and half into me. So I was responsible for not only logistics, I was responsible for the entire fulfillment piece, the warehouse operations, the offline stores of First Cry, HR, and a couple of other functions, corporate functions. So the so a lot of investors felt that we should. Some of our investors felt that I should continue focusing on First Cry, but some of the investors who had seen me build this logistics piece and heard about good things about the market, they were very interested. So took some time to convince others. So by 2015 mid is when we decided that we'll spin off Xpressbees. So I mirrored the cap table and I started Xpressbees. And
Okay. So, what were like? Did the warehouses go to Xpressbees? Like, how did you split the logistics infrastructure of FirstCry?
so warehouses are still with FirstCry. So only the last mile delivery centers were kept with Xpressbees. So we are very asset light anyway. As I said, we would expense of everything. We had zero capex, so there was almost no assets except some chairs, tables, and computers. All the offices were leased. So that's how I started Xpressbees, and then 2015. Now it's 5 years in Xpressbees. I think Xpressbees today is one of the largest logistics companies in the country.
Okay, okay. Uh, can you give an idea again of the trajectory? Like in 2015, when it was spun off into an independent identity, like what were the numbers like? It could be like number of deliveries or the top line or the head count or whatever, and how it grew over the years.
So when we spun off in 2015, we were typically doing around 20-25,000 shipments per day, and today we do around 7.5 lakh shipments per day.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
5 years.
Okay. 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 And you said you cover about 2,600 cities and towns in India.
So 2,600 cities and towns spread across all throughout the country. So we deliver everywhere in the India except Lakshadweep, including Andaman Nicobar. So right from Kashmir to Kashmir to Kanyakumari, there from West Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh in the east, including all the seven sisters. Uh, as I said, except Lakshadweep, including Andaman and Nicobar, we deliver everywhere.
Okay. Okay. And do you continue to have that asset light kind of a model where everything is largely leased and
Absolutely,
it's
it's the same
okay.
philosophy which is continued.
Okay. So where would you put Xpressbees in like the overall logistics space? Just to help listeners understand, like, uh, is it comparable to delivery or the other companies like Ecom Express, and what are the differences between them? Are they similar types of setups, or are they focusing on different parts of the market? And if you could just like.
Yeah, so we Delivery and Ecom Express are competitors. So size wise, we and Ecom Express are pretty close. Delivery is slightly bigger than us. So we are a fairly large size company. So and and by organizational design, obviously each of them has its own nuances because each organization is set up separately. The design structure is separate, but we essentially address similar markets where we say we do primarily e-commerce deliveries, and right now both. I think Ecom Express is not getting there, but both delivery and us we are focusing on B2B as well. So we have started entering the B2B market, and I believe similar to what we did in e-commerce delivery, using technology to bring about efficiency and bringing down the cost, we would be able to do a similar stuff in B2B deliveries as well.
Okay. So e-commerce business is what you receive it at a certain point in the city, and then inside that city delivering it from that point to
No,
the
no,
customer's house.
we
That
can
is
we can pick up anywhere in India and deliver to anywhere in India. So we can pick it up in Surat and deliver in Agartala, pick it up in say Bombay and deliver in Jammu and Kashmir. We can pick up shipments from. So we are an end-to-end logistics supplier. So a service provider. So we can pick up pretty much from anywhere and to anywhere. We also do warehousing. One of the very interesting things about a warehousing is we have the omni-channel technology. So we can help you do online and offline from the same warehouse, from the same stock pool, which sounds easy, but technologically it's quite difficult, challenging. Not many companies can do it in India.
so. What does that mean? Like a company could use your services for both sending the inventory to its retail stores and directly delivering to the customer.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And when you say that you are now increasing your focus on the B2B segment, can you describe what you mean by B2B segment?
B2B are the traditional businesses. Traditional businesses like B2B. B2B. We are focused on B2B express business as we call it. So moving goods from the manufacturers or factories to the distributors or to the warehouses or larger warehouses, smaller warehouses. We serve almost all the leading pharma names in the country. We serve all the leading fashion houses, and we also work with these are like be it Aditya Birla Group, be it Tata Group, be it Reliance, be it all the leading pharma names and pharmaceuticals. We work with all of them.
So this would be like a bulk goods movement, like you would be moving a whole truckload at a time, as opposed to the e-commerce business, which is more of
Whole
individual
truckload or a,
packets.
or a part truckload, yes.
Hmm, 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 hmm. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay. And I mean, since you are no longer in FirstCry, but is the equity table the same? Like you continue to have stake in both companies equally, like both you and Supam, or is it like a
Yeah,
split up now that?
I'm still on the board of FirstCry. Supam is on the board of Xpressbees. So yeah, I hold equity in FirstCry.
Okay. Okay. So, how do you see technology influencing the logistics business? Do you see stuff like IoT and maybe drones and things like those changing how this business is happening? Like, what's your forecast on where the business will be 5 years down the line in terms of technology? Like, what are like the disruptive technologies that can shake up this market?
So it's technology. We are a tech-led logistics company, so technology will play a very important role. I think IoT and others are while that is there, a lot of work can be done using the technologies available today to make things more efficient in logistics. Simple, how do you route a shipment? How do you the challenge of finding an address in India? We Indians write address in a very different manner than rest of the world does, right? The rest of the world write a zip code first, and as soon as you write a zip code, it will narrow down to like 6 to 7 doors, and you then select the door, and rest is autofilled. In India, you will find addresses like the lane next to Lakshmi Hardware, uh,
Landmark based.
2 doors after Sai Baba Mandir, and all those things. And there's a good chance, there's a good 8 to 10% chance if you're in a boundary pin code where the pin code could be either your area or your neighboring area as well, or could be absolutely wrong as well. So so yeah, uh, so the challenges in Indian logistics is very very unique, and use of technology is what will help you predict a lot of things, bring in efficiency, bring down the costs.
Hmm, hmm. So you're saying there's an information problem, like the quality of information available.
It's not only information problem; it is how you use technology to ensure better efficiency, reduce the number of sorts, reduce the number of scans. Uh, for example, in e-commerce, okay, uh, the way it is designed, there is absolutely no pen and paper in any of the operations. So everything is automated, everything is through the system. We do not use pen and paper at all in any of my offices. We have around, as I said, we have around 2,000 plus offices, and so more than 2,000. We have around close to between so totally around 20 to 2,300 offices, and we do not have pen and paper. We don't need a pen and paper. We do have printers, some printers, but everything is on the system or automated. Even the run sheet, for example, when the boys take out the shipments from delivery, it goes into their mobile phone. So so it is about how do you bring in, and that's just one part of it, eliminating paper. That's rather simple thing, but how do you route a shipment? How do you dynamically route a shipment based on the efficiency, based on the situation? you know how which shipment goes in which bag? That's where the technology comes into play.
So that was Amitava talking about how he scaled FirstCry and Xpressbees. If you run an e-commerce business that needs to get better with logistics, check out xpressbees.com. That's xpressbees.com.
You like the Founder Thesis podcast? Then do check out our other shows on subjects like marketing, technology, career advice, books, and drama. Visit thepodium.in, that is thepodium.in for a complete list of all our shows.